Hello everyone and welcome back to Learn That Turn. Dun, 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 dun. And today we are going to create a Unity game. That's right, a Unity game. And if you are a complete beginner to Unity, it's absolutely cool because today it is an absolute beginner tutorial. So this is what the game looks like. There's gonna be 4 parts to this game, and if you want to complete this game, you have to watch all 4 parts of the tutorial, and I will make everything as a playlist so it's easy. And let's get into it! So now we are getting our first project in Unity, and I have provided the installation of Unity in the comment section box below. So let's go ahead and make our first project. So we can open Unity Hub. So this is Unity Hub, and these are my projects that I've created. Well, if you're a starter of Unity, you would have this fully blank. So I'm not gonna worry about all of these. You have to just click on this new button, and a pop-up will come. You can select your project name over here. Still loading. Yeah, and make sure you have 3D selected. If you have 2D or something else selected, make sure you select 3D, or you can select 3D with extras, but I'm gonna select 3D. And let's name this Cube Shooter. You can name it anything you want, but I want to name it Cube Shooter, so let's hit create. When Unity finishes loading, you would have a screen like this. So now you can see there are 2 things. One is a camera and one is a directional light. So if you select the camera, there are these arrows. So with these arrows, you can move the camera. And as you move the camera, you can see in the inspector tab, and in the transform, it's changing as I move it. So if I move it in the x-axis, it's changing, and if I move it in the z-axis, the z value is changing, and if I move it in the y-axis, the y value is changing. So I'm just gonna reset the transform, and same goes for the directional light. So if you select the move tool, and you can move the camera, this is the move tool, and this tool, I think you guessed it, it's the rotate tool. You can rotate the camera, the transform, the rotation like changes, and this is the Y, this is the Z. So I'll just reset these. The next tool is called scale. Scale won't work in a camera, there's no difference. So for that, I'll add a cube. This shows scaling. So the cube has come, and if you see in a hierarchy, a cube has appeared. So if we click on the cube, and if we had to scale it, you can see that the scale changes, and also the cube changes as we scale it. Okay, so now the next tool is similar to a scaling, but it just faster. You can do that with this and you can position. So we'll be using these tools only. And the hand tool, I forgot, is where if you left click and I had to move your mouse, you can move over here. And suddenly if you move so fast like this and I forgot, oh my god, where's my cube? You can just double click on the cube and that will focus on the cube. So now to zoom in and zoom out, you can scroll with the middle mouse button. And so now if you right click, you'll see that our cursor has changed into an eye type of thing. And like if you do with the WASD key, if you right click and hold WASD key, you move around the scene and it's like you're playing an actual game. Okay, so these are the controls and you can see they are scene, game and asset store. For now we don't need the asset store, so if you right click and close tab and that'll close the asset store. For now we only need the scene and the game. So the scene is the area where you build and the whole game, like build the game. And the game area is the view of the camera. So if you click on the camera, there's something called camera preview and that is the game. If you go on the game here, that's the game. So whenever you click on the play button here, you will be taken to the game window. Okay, so now let's start creating the game design. So what to do for that is, on the top where file, edit, all of those are there. You can click on game object, 3D object, just hover your mouse here. And there are many things. So now we just want a cube. Click on the cube and that'll put a cube in the scene. Okay, so we of course need a place where the cube can fall. So we need to go to game object again and select plane. That'll put a plane, and if you want a plane bigger, you can just size it. I'll put it about 10. Okay, 10 is good. And of course we also want to change the color of all these. This default color just looks good. So what do we do for that is, in our project there's something called assets and packages. For now in the assets, we want to right click, create new folder. So we will now call this colors, maybe. Yes, colors, and we want to create two more. So we'll do create another one, scripts, and the other one is gonna be called prefabs. Oh, sorry. Yeah, prefabs. And now if we double click on the colors, and this it'll show this folder is empty. So you right click again, create, and you'll see bottom there's something called material. So if you click on material, you have to rename it. So let's call this mat underscore player. Okay, just click outside and now drag this mat player, and you can drag it over here or you can drag it over here. I'll just drag it into the cube. And now if you click on our mat player, and we can change the color if you click on this. Oops. click on this, a color will open, and whereas change the color, the cube's color is also changing. See clearly, we can just go here. You can select any color you want. For now, I like to select green because it's my favorite color. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. And let's create another one. So create material matte underscore floor. Okay, we can put that into the plane. And now change the color to any color you want. I think blue and green suits. Yes, it does. Okay, so now we got all of these color changed. Now we want to position our camera a certain way where we can see the cube. Currently in our game view, we don't see anything, we just see the cube. So we position this like I think this area, and got a bit of rotation. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so now let's get into coding. Now if you go to our assets, and we created a folder called script, so double click on that. Right click, create C# script, and we'll call this player movement or player shoot, and that's fine. Okay, if we double click on player shoot, it'll take us to Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the area where we write the code. And now for me, Visual Studio is open. So there's something called void start and void update. So void start is all about when you start the game, void start only comes once, and void update, it starts and it goes continuously, forever. So what we're gonna do in void start is we're gonna write transform dot position equals new vector 3, and we'll specify over here 0, 0, and 0. Put a semicolon at the end. So what this line does is, this line positions the cube or any object to 0, 0, 0. So what we're gonna, I'll explain this. So transform, as you may have seen in the inspector of the cube, there's something called transform, and if this particular code is getting the transform, and Unity doesn't know that if you're getting a transform position, rotation, or scale. So we are specifying position. We want to get the position, and we're assigning the position to a new vector 3. So vector 3 holds all the position values, that is x, y, and z. Vector 3 is, or you can remember vector 3 is for position. And we're creating a new vector 3 because we haven't even created one. And we are assigning that to 0, 0, 0. So if you play the game, all of this will become 0, 0, 0. So we hit the play button here. Oh, I forgot. Before doing that, we should drag the player shoot into the cube so that the cube will have the script and the cube will move. Let's call this player. Okay, so play again. Something's not right. To save this, Control S, go back into Unity. Okay, if we play it, now it goes back to 0, 0, 0. The cube is not there because of course it's in 0, 0, 0. So I'll just copy these values and position them and paste them, Wherever your cube can be, you can just paste those values over there and this. Put it over here. Okay, if you Control S with this and go back to Unity, and if we play the game, it gives a notification that all compiler errors has to be fixed. And for that, if you go to the console, you can see that they are specifying arguments. So if we give a decimal value, we should always put a F after it. F again. So F stands for float. The decimal is always float. So put a F after all the values if you have a decimal, and save this. Go back in Unity. Now all of the errors go, and if we play, we don't get a notification, and it goes exactly where we want it to go. Wait. So now we need some physics for the cube, like the physics to fall. So what I can do for that is, there's no code for it. Just click on the cube, click on add component, and if you click on that, type rigid body, or you can just type R, and there's something called rigid body. Don't mistakenly click rigid body 2D, you want rigid body. Okay, if we put rigid body here and if we play, the cube is falling. So rigid body is basically a physics thing. So now if you place a bunch of cubes, you can just hold Control D to duplicate all of them. Control D. And as you may know, Control Z to undo your move. Okay, as we keep the cubes here, they are still gonna be positioned in the value that we have given. So to stop that is, we are going to go to these cubes, all of these, and you can just take out this component, click on the dots and remove components so they won't position to that place. Okay, so that's nice physics. You can create more cubes and we could have fun, but we don't want that to happen. We want to make a cube shooter. So now let's make a target for the shooter. We're just gonna create another cube. You can make it however you want. You wanna make it look like. So I'm just gonna create this fire. This a bit more. And position this a bit up. And move this, I think so. Okay, that's the target. So we go back into colors, create material matte underscore target. Okay, so we drag this, assign it to maybe this color, I think so. Yeah, that'll do. And if you go to game object, 3D object, we are just creating cube. So we're gonna create a sphere that is like just a usual sphere. Sorry, position this there. Make this a bit this. Okay, so that's the target you have to hit. Ultra target. Okay, so we put this in that. Change the color to maybe yellow, so it's not camouflaged or not yellow. Maybe that is fine. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And okay, so that's our target. And of course we want a cube to shoot at it. So now we can drag this, we can rename the objects. We rename this cube to frame of target. Okay, and then we're gonna rename this as target. And now we can take this and put it under frame of target. So this target becomes a child of frame of target, and this frame of target is the parent. Okay, cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna seal this whole area because it won't be fun if this cube just goes on like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this plane, play just a bit down and scale this up. And you guessed it, make it red like lava. Look at this matte lava. Drag this into this plane. That's good. Name this as lava and rename this as floor. Okay, so now we have designed our game design. So now let's get into the shooting. So before that, I wanna make this frame of target as a prefab. So that's easy. So just drag this into our prefabs folder and hooray, it becomes prefab. So we don't need to make another circle, put it like that, and we don't need to do that. We can just drag it from the prefab folder. Okay, so now if we go back into our scripts and open player shoot again, in our void update we're gonna say get component and open this weird brackets type of thing and type in rigid body. So we are accessing the rigid body component as we have given it the first place to our player as rigid body. If you haven't, you can just add the rigid body, and we're gonna put a brackets, open a parenthesis, that's just the syntax dot velocity. Then we're gonna assign it to, let's say, V3, no, let's say shoot, V3 shoot, and put a semicolon after this. After every line, put a semicolon. And you might have a question in your mind. What is this V3 shoot? Well, now you'll get to know. Because if we just save this, go back into Unity, we get an error in the console that says that v3 shoot does not exist. So why don't we make it exist? So at the top, where these curly brackets are there, just hit a couple of enters. Yeah, that's fine. And now we're gonna type here serialize, IELE. Serialized field means it only belongs to this object. So serialized field, and we're gonna say v3, wait, not virtual, v3, hey, come on, v3, yeah, now it's coming, shoot, v3 shoot, and before that we're gonna give vector 3. So this v3 shoot gets all the values, that is x, y, and z. Put a semicolon, save this. If you go back in Unity, the error goes. Yes. So we get a warning that v3 shoot is never assigned and we don't want to assign it, so we'll leave the warning. So now we put in again serialized field, again serialized field, and we put over here key. Okay, before that, let's experiment what this particular code does. We go back in Unity, and if we go to our player shoot, there's something called v3 shoot as we had declared over here, v3 shoot, and it has a x, y, and z because I told it is a vector 3 data type, and we can just say the x is 0.3, the y is 0.4, and the z is, let's say, 0.2. So now to play the game, the player is of course gonna move in that direction that we gave. So it's moving in the particular direction, which is x this much, y this much, z this much. Okay, so that's pretty slow. And we want our keys to control this. So why when we don't do that? I'll make this all 0, 0, 0. I'll make the z 0.3 and inside the x. And you go back into Visual Studio. We'll give a couple of serialized fields over here. I'm just copy pasting. And yeah, that's all. Now we're gonna say key code, the data type is key code, and let's say positive. A positive semicolon, positive semicolon, let me zoom in. And again, key code, negative, semicolon, and then void update. We hit enter. If the condition, open a parentheses and type input, because keys are always input dot get key, open the brackets again, let's type positive, key, and now hit enter after this again, shift, open up curly brackets, hit enter, and we want to put this line of code and with this curly brackets. Okay, so now we just duplicate this fully and change this to negative, no, not new, negative. That's all. So if we go back into Unity again, it's buffering. So now if we go into the player, there's some key code, so we can put this to positive to right arrow, negative to left arrow, or you can put for the W, A, S, and D keys. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so the cube doesn't move, and if we put the negative values, of course it's really slow, but it's still moving. So what we do to make it fast is, we can of course change this a bit. And if we scroll up, there's cube mesh filter, and we can change the mesh. Click on this bubble, and we can change it to a sphere. So sphere is gonna move fast, and we want to change the box collider over here. So we just delete the box collider and add a sphere collider. Sphere collider. Okay, now if we play, it moves much faster. Still a bit slow. Shoot, and we're gonna see what about 1. Still more. 2. Think 2 will do. Or let's say 3 here. Play again. Okay, this is fine. Okay, we can put this back to 0.3. And at our constants in our rigid body, let's just freeze the rotation. And if we see that our object is meant to fall, it's going so slow. And why is it going slow? Okay, so if we paste the component again, copy component and paste as new, will be paste here. And you want to change the Z to 5. And you want to say up arrow and down arrow. So now if we make our player fall, you can see that it doesn't fall actually, it just stays in the air. So there's a pretty logical reason for that, and that is, we instead of putting, and you might also notice that the negative key values are not working, so that's the same reason. Just make a plus for positive and a negative. So plus equals and minus equals. So we're adding the rigid body and we're assigning to weight ratio. So it'll have the gravity also. And over here we are minusing the rigid body to the weight ratio. So it'll minus. So if we save this, go back in Unity. We can probably, yeah, that's fine. Whoa, okay, this is really fast. Let's change this to 0.3 only. And here 0.3. And if you want to make it go up, like the player to go up, move up. So we can just paste the component again. So paste as new. Make this go up so it's clean. and change the y to 0.3. And we can do space over here, and negative I'll just leave it as, at that. Space and negative is just set up none. So now if we play the game, we can make the ball jump with the space key. Ooh, that went high. And move the ball with our arrow keys, and this looks really smooth. Okay, so now this was part 1 of the game, and we'll get into part 2 next. So for now, bye guys.
So hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any doubts, you can post in the comment section below. You can create your own game using these scripts. They are not necessary. You can only create these games using these scripts. And wait. Did you guys subscribe to my channel? If you didn't, please subscribe. So till then, bye.
Be strong.